In today's video, we are doing I would call it returning the car to OEM suspension job. Part of this job was inspired by the Car Care Nut YouTube channel. One of the big things that he has said is to not use aftermarket ball joints. I do have a bit of a clunk on the passenger side, and I saved up a little bit of money, and they put these on sale, so I'm putting on Toyota OEM ball joints. I'm putting Toyota OEM tie rods. I'm putting Toyota OEM suspension mounts, and these are the little bearings for the suspension. If you see a previous video on my channel, I was trying to figure out a clunk on the driver's side, which I was able to figure out with it was the spring that I guess was bent. So I'm now have it on the passenger side. I'm not sure what's doing the clunk. It may not be either of these things, but right now the suspension mount, the ball joint, and the tie rod are all aftermarket. So I'm going to switch them to OEM to at least eliminate those as a possibility of the clunk. Maybe it'll take care of it, maybe it won't. But that's what we're working on today. Here's the sequence. We're going to remove the speed sensor, which is right down here. It's a little 10mm bolt. Actually, the first thing I did was remove the axle nut, which is a 30, where is it? I think it says on there 30mm. You see it's upside down. 30mm. So there's a little crown on it and this cotter pin, and then with this nice big impact. If you don't have an impact, I would do this when it's sitting on the ground, or this is just gonna spin. But this was a $25 impact from Harbor Freight. It's powered, obviously, but great for these kinds of things. So the sequence is get the speed sensor, get that out of the way, remove this 12mm bolt, which is the brake line, and then we'll go from there. There's the speed sensor right down over there. We got that off. I'm putting all of the little bolts back in their holes. You see right there, I'm just putting that in, just because there's going to be a bunch of bolts. I don't want to lose any or forget where they go. The next thing I'm going to do is try to zip off this sway bar end link. Let's see if I can do this with the camera. It's a 14. And I think I lost it. There it is. Kind of hard to do holding the camera, but there we go. Sway bar end link. And once again, so we'll take this out because we're taking the struts out, but we'll put that right there. Okay, I'm gonna do the same on the other side, and then I believe I'm gonna take off the ball joint. Actually, what I think I'm gonna do first is loosen up these strut shock bolts, because with the ball joint in there, it's kind of holding it into place, and there's a bunch of torque on these. So these are 22s. I'm gonna break these loose, and then so I'm probably just gonna break everything loose right now, but keep the bolts in for the tie rods and the ball joint. Just kind of break everything loose. Okay, so I haven't really been filming a lot of this, but here's, like, I don't know if this is midway, we're losing daylight. So part of this was actually replacing the power steering fluid reservoir. I was actually trying to install one of those magnifying filters, but I couldn't find a good place to put it. I mean, I could have ran it down here, possibly put it right here and splice between this line, but I didn't want this to rub up against it, or possibly replace this line with a rubber line, but I kind of like the OEM line, so we're just going to replace the fluid. And this took a while, getting these hoses and getting all this done, getting the reservoir in, replacing this hose here. These are new clamps. These are Toyota OEM clamps. They had OEM clamps before, but now these are new, and the new reservoir. This one's from eBay. It was pretty cheap. We're gonna try it out. I'm keeping the old one just in case. And we're going to put this Idemitsu automatic transmission fluid, which apparently is what originally they put in. It does say type T4, but we're gonna try it with this fluid. It's an older system anyway, so I don't know. We're gonna see how that feels. The bellows got cleaned and put back on. I took them off because I'm kind of tracking this leak, and it actually didn't have much fluid inside the bellows. There's a little bit on the driver's side. The passenger side was pretty dry, and there was a time maybe a year ago where I opened those bellows up and it was just dripping in fluid, and I actually used some of that stop leak. I'll show you here. I've been adding, as the fluid level went down, I kept adding this. Here it is down here. This stop leak seal fix, quick seal fix. So that seems to have at least greatly reduced the leak. So part of why I wanted to put the new fluid is because I didn't want to dilute it too much. I don't know how much I'd put in, so we're going to start it with new fluid, and you know, if it's still leaking, I'll add some more of that seal fix. But this was essentially a power steering fluid flush, and part of it is when I disconnected the hoses, I then turned the wheel, you know, lock to lock to have it empty out, and now I'm going to bleed the power steering system. So I'm going to add fluid and then turn it lock to lock until the level stops dropping. So let's do that now. So it's late at night here. We have evening playing going out. The kiddies are asleep, and I wanted to show you my, I guess, redneck engineering, or whatever you want to call it, for tightening this ball joint. So here we have the new ball joint, and this is supposed to be torqued to 90 foot-pounds. The only problem with that is that this is the bearing, so anytime you try to turn it, this wants to turn, and then if you're able to stop that from turning, then it wants to lift up. Now obviously in the manual it says, you know, use a vice grip, but if you don't have a vice grip, here's another good idea. Put it on the tire or the wheel, whatever, and get yourself a block of wood to kind of jam it so that it doesn't turn, and tighten it. So I've gotten it down to 70 foot-pounds. I'm gonna try to get it to 90, but so far this has been the best solution if you don't have a vice grip, or a vice, I guess, to be able to do this.